using like a turbo button. So you're just kind of mashing the controller as fast as possible, so it's a little bit hard and you'll probably run out. However, you probably get a good amount of shots that he's almost dead. Once you run out of jetpack, just head to the left side of the screen, shoot it once from the top, and then, as you saw it travel down first, I can get a whole lot of quick shots in on it. So that's another boss down, and now we have another one of our medallions. Our next place that we're going to travel to is actually that volcano that we've met with Michael before. Now here's Michael, who is telling us that the stone is now beneath the lava again. So this is when we're going to need that super suit that I've been mentioning before in order to travel into the lava and locate that magic stone. So now what I'm going to do is call the shop, and I'm going to go ahead and purchase that super suit that I mentioned. As well as, since I am here, I'm going to go ahead and fill out all the rest of the items that I need. Leave the shop, made sure that I bought another one of the call things so that I can call the shop again, because we're going to have to call it a couple more times throughout the run. Now at this point we're actually over halfway through the game, as we're going to head into this volcano area, equip that super suit. I have 2 of them now. I bought that extra one just in case. Like I mentioned, you may want to buy the extra one. I have the extra money, so I went ahead and bought the extra one there. Dive down into the lava. Eventually it'll take you to this screen where you can grab it. Not only do you get the stone there, but as you can see by grabbing the stone, you actually get a couple more places of health. Now you may be wondering, since I haven't mentioned it, what are those other items in the shop? But there's other items. You have multiple different ones that add different attacks to your weapon. You have like a laser shot, you have one that kind of goes around you as a shield, and you have like a 3 spread shot that can come out for a little bit. They don't last too long, and overall you would find out that they really aren't that useful for defeating most of the bosses through the game, so it's just as good to use your regular blaster when taking out all the enemies. There is also one of those items in there, and you start off with 3 of them, but you can buy more later on. It's this little health drink that doesn't refill your health all the way. It gives you 1 extra bar of health. It's pretty annoying overall because you can only carry 3 of them at a time, so to refill your health all the way to the top takes a lot of these drinks to do that. I mean, it's better than nothing, but still it would be a little bit more useful to heal a little bit quicker. Now here's this underwater path. I mentioned that we would need the aqua lung again later on, so there was one of the instances when we needed it. We are actually now going to travel to that cave where the demon is located, where we're going to have to use that crystal we got from the volcano, and this is going to be that part of the game where I actually intentionally lose a life, because you need to in order to continue on the game. Now before we enter, we meet up with Michael again. He tells us to open the door with the stone. We select the stone, it flashes a little bit. You're kind of frozen in place, but you can take damage from those enemies. It's a little bit annoying. However, like I said before, we are about to lose a life here. Walk over, we meet up with the demon. Obviously a big scary demon. Of course, he's going to kick the crap out of us in a second. There's no way for us to defeat him at this point. You need to get a certain weapon that we're going to get later on, and we can't get that item until after this battle takes place. So now after we have a long conversation with the demon, it also kind of explains what the heck's been going on with Michael. We take quick damage, and now we'll see our soul leave our body here to fly up, and we'll get our game over screen. Head back to the main screen. You can see there's a continue button right away, and then it comes back with, I just can't be concerned with that demon right now. So you need to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and equip my power boots to speed up a little bit here, but now we're going to travel through a series of caves to get out of this whole area. You can't go back the way we came in. Now after we travel a little bit, we're going to have to use the aqua lung again in order to travel through this underground green cave water in order to get out of this whole cave. Travel to the left, get to this cave, enter it, and you can see there's that water that I mentioned. Equip the aqua lung again, and then dive into the water, and you'll go to another one. There's underground. It looks exactly like the one we did just a little bit ago. Travel through it. When you reach the top, jump out of it. We're now in a pink colored cave. Go ahead and de-equip my aqua lung. And now we gotta travel through this cave area. As soon as you get outside, I'll actually be able to call the shop again. You can't call the shop while you're in these caves. I guess it would be impossible for it to show up. I'm not really sure. It flies out of nowhere. It literally floats down from the sky when you call it. But you cannot call it, I guess, when you're inside these caves. I just couldn't make it through the ceiling or something. Make my way slowly through here. Exit out, and now I can go ahead and call the shop so I can buy some items. Okay, now I have this money, I'm going to go ahead and spend my money here. Buy some of my boots, buy some of the jetpacks, as well as buy to make sure I can call the shop again if I'm going to need it. And then go ahead and leave. And now we're on a whole new area of the map. If you notice when looking at the world map of the game, there was this triangle-shaped area to the right that was in the upper right corner that was no path attached to it. That's this area. So here's another boss, but this is Tom Gaikot, who we met early on in the game, that first guy we met. And then he explains to us that an incredible monster came out of nowhere, this big demon, destroyed him, killed him, and also took his medallions. So early on we thought Tom Gaikot was going to be our main boss of the game, however we have a little bit of a twist here, and find out that he's already been taken out by a demon. Which is of course the same demon that we got our butt kicked by and had to lose that life to earlier. Now we meet up with Facia again, that sprite that we met earlier who moved that path, and explains to us that we now need to go ahead and see the hermit again. So we use our teleport ability and travel way back to early on in the game where we were, to reach back to that cave area where we traveled in before, and we'll have to travel there again, in order to reach that hermit. Go ahead and use my jetpack to fly through this area as fast as possible. Back to the forest, travel through. And now travel up this long mountain range again to that door where the hermit is located. Jump up here to talk to him, and he's going to explain to us that we need to go get the Apollo sword, the Sword of Apollo, in order to go ahead and defeat the demon. Now, you may wonder, of course, where this sword was. Well, early on, when we first went to that volcano where the demon was located, there was a statue just to the right of the entrance of the volcano. That statue, if you use the stone in front of it, releases the sword. However, you can't release that sword until you've had that conversation we just had with the hermit. So, see that statue right there with the heart that's in front of it? That's where we're going to be going. So we have to jump on top here. Jump over, get down, and now we can use the stone here. It'll flash and it'll give us the Sword of Apollo. So now with that sword, we can now defeat the demon. However, he has moved to a new location. So we fast travel to this area. Equip the power boots real fast so I can kind of travel through this area a little bit quicker than usual. The Devil's Tower is the name of this mountain. Go inside of it at the top. Watch out for this guy and make it to a cave entrance over here. And here we go with our actual boss battle against the demon. Now you would think this boss battle would be pretty big, as well as would also be our final boss of the game. However, we still have a little bit longer to go in the game. Go ahead and equip the Sword of Apollo. And what you want to do is it moves from left to right. You want to go to the far left or far right to start it off. And you can dodge his projectile pretty easily. And you just want to jump up and shoot him in the eye as much as possible. It doesn't take too many shots, thankfully, to take him out. And with the speeded up boots I have on, it allows me to bypass him quicker. However, it's not a necessity to have them. You don't absolutely need them, but it definitely helps when dodging his projectile item. Just like all enemies before, after only a few hits, he's going to explode and he'll reach his end. We'll get our item, and then the path to the right here will open up, and we can travel down. Now, you must destroy these little things right here. We find out they're demon's eggs. You must take them out in order for the next entrance to open up. So take them out with the sword, and as you can see, the path opens up. And now we have another path to take care of. Our now goal is to reach the top of the mountain here in order to travel up into a spaceship, which will be our last part of the game. We do have quite a few routes that we're going to have to travel through in order to reach that spaceship or that area. Use the jet to kind of speed through some of the areas and travel up this minty green wall. Once you get to the top of it, you're going to want to travel to the left, obviously. Try to get past these enemies as quick as possible. The jet definitely helps. Travel to route number 30. We have this area to deal with. Flying through it's easier. When you get to the left, go down here, jump down. Travel to the left once again. And drop down again. And right there leads us to the exit of this route. Our next one is the one that's going to actually take us inside this whole new area where we'll have to deal with another boss first. Now, this boss we're actually going to have to see more than once. We fight him here in a certain battle, and then we're going to refight him later on. So as we travel through, enter his room. Here we go. We have, of course, our normal text conversation with our enemy before fighting him. We have Bopper here. He also explains to us that the headquarters is actually located at the top of the mountain. But once he tells us that, of course, he's going to have to kill us before we can leave. He's a pretty easy pattern to move around. Similar to the demon battle we just had, you want to move to the left and right to avoid him at the best that you can. When you can get him on the same eye level as you, you can blast him for a lot of shots quickly, but then he'll immediately start traveling upwards or downwards again. So you can either stay on the bottom and move back and forth, or jump onto the top area and get a lot of shots at him pretty quickly. Really, the hardest part about the battle is actually hitting him, because when he shoots out the projectiles, your weapon ends up hitting them, and not only does it destroy the projectile of his, it also destroys yours. To quickly continue moving, he'll explode.